Okay. All right. Who picked it? Terry picked it.
Hey, well, before we start on tonight's movie, I want to back up to last week's movie for a moment because I knew when I heard some of the dialogue early on, it's like I've heard that somewhere before. And so, you guys remember the era of the Red Angels in New York City in the 80s?
You mean the
Guardian Angels?
Well, I think they called them the Red Angels. It might have been Guardian Angels. They wore red berets.
They were working like
Instead of-
the subway. They secured the subways and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Clash wrote a song about the Red Angels of New York City. And it goes, this is in the middle of the song. Did anyone prophesize these people? Only Travis. Come in, Travis. One of these days I'm going to get myself organized. All the animals come out at night. Queens, fairies, dopers, junkies, sick, venal. Someday a real rain will come and wash all the scum off the streets. Thank God for the rain to wash the trash off the sidewalk. Listen, you screwheads, here's a man, Travis, who would not take any more. A man who stood up against the scum and the filth. Anyway, he said that. He said the queens, fairies, dopers, junkies.
Mm-hmm.
He said that early on, and I remember like, where have I heard that before? So
Oh.
Joe Strummer used that in that song. It wasn't all about that, but it was like the middle refrain. So I have no extra information on this movie at all. I don't know anything about it. So you can start from there.
Well, okay. And
I
next
saw the
week,
color
Talking
version.
Niagara here.
All I can say
Actually,
is
they
that,
were the Guardian Angels. That was the name of the group. The Guardian
Yeah.
Kurt Sliwa.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're still around. They're still around in New York.
Yeah. So I mostly like the movie because of all the old stuff, like how it was when we were all born. The helicopter, did you see the helicopter?
Yeah.
The clothes, the buildings, the cars, the interior decor. Um, I just liked all that.
I loved when his boat went over the falls. That looked like a Saturday morning, some sort of
toy
cartoon
boat
thing.
about
Yeah.
that big.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I like the movie, Terry. Thank you. I'm really glad I got to see it because I would have never have found it. And it said it was Marilyn's 18th movie, but really her first starring vehicle. Those camper cabins were in Canada. And I read in one review, and maybe somebody else read this or Wikipedia or somewhere, where they cut out a whole section of the movie because they hired some British actors to be Canadians, and they didn't like the Canadian piece in there, and they just took it out. I mean, I didn't notice any continuity issue. In fact, the whole movie is so tight, it just boom, I thought, boom, 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 boom. I thought there was some great imagery of the Carillon and Marilyn. And Jean was never in the Carillon. I thought that was interesting. I think it was just an aside, but I thought Jean Peters was great in it. Marilyn, not so much. I thought some of the dialogue was not great, but I loved seeing Niagara Falls. I've never been there, but I looked online to see what it looks like now. And it's got all these hotels and casinos and everything all the way around it, so you can get a room with a view. So it was really neat seeing what it used to be. So anyway, I enjoyed the movie, and I thought the falls was actually character number one.
Yeah, they made a big deal out of it.
And they should have. It was awesome. Mahoney, I think you've been there once or
Yeah.
twice or more.
Yeah, at least once, maybe twice, a couple of times. When we went out to New England, we would cross back over in the Buffalo area. So we would be by Niagara Falls. I noticed the same thing. I read the same thing too, Matt, and that the studio had a problem with English playing Canadian policemen solving an American crime, and supposedly there were holes in the script as a result of that. I didn't find that to be a problem either. I'm not a big Marilyn Monroe fan, but and so I don't claim to have seen all of her pictures, but I really liked her in this. I mean, I thought she was hot and sultry and everything that she was intended to be. I mean, I think my favorite Marilyn Monroe movie is probably Some Like It Hot, with Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon. But this is right up there. I thought it was a pretty good movie. You're right. The Niagara Falls were displayed prominently on it. I thought it was a nice, tight, film noir tale. I enjoyed it. Thought it was well done.
Yeah, and the three stripe, they called it Technicolor.
Yeah,
The colors in this didn't lead you down the film noir path, but it is. I thought.
I had seen the movie numerous times before I watched it again, actually, yesterday. I thought it was a Hitchcock movie. It seemed very, very Hitchcockian to me, the feel of the movie. I agree with Terry, your initial thoughts as far as the scenery and how, and taking us back to how things looked back then. I felt the same way about that. I thought Jean Peters, the scene at the end, I know they weren't really on the river, but she's on a set, but the way she was getting water thrown at her and knocked around, that scene, that I'm sure quite a very physically demanding bit of acting there. And I thought she did a hell of a job in that scene. I have been to Niagara Falls myself. I used to cover I still kind of cover New York even now, but I had a downtime one afternoon and I was in Buffalo and I just ran up the hill 20 miles to Niagara Falls. And I went on the Maid of the Mist and they gave me they give you all a raincoat, but my raincoat only went like just below my knees. So the bottom of my pants and my shoes were soaked by the time I got there. But it is quite a sight. It really is. Is it one of the wonders of the world? I can't remember, but it should be if it's not. It's very, very exciting place. So I love the movie. Glad you picked it. Happy to watch it again.
Cool.
I gotta tell you guys that I tried to do that Marilyn Monroe walk and about broke my neck.
The what? I didn't hear. What did you say,
Her
Chris?
walk.
Oh
Her
God.
walk. How in the world? Yeah,
That first time she left the cabin was going to meet her boyfriend. Man,
Yes.
she had it going.
Yeah. You're not kidding.
Yes, quite the derriere. But anyway, someone pointed out that there's a contrast or two beauty contrasts in this, and the
Oh,
first one is
absolutely.
that
Yeah.
of the female form, and the second one is nature, which is the falls. So I thought that was interesting, but I tell you, I was surprised that Patrick and George wore the same size shoes. I had no idea.
Oh my God.
I
Okay.
was
Go ahead.
shocked at the ending. I really was. I did not expect that at all. So it was suspenseful, and there's a lot of deceit and betrayal and lies and whatever. So it was okay. Yeah.
Her
So,
boyfriend could whistle, couldn't he?
yeah.
I don't remember the whistling part, but anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry, Crisco.
No, I'm finished. Thank you.
Boy, I guess I am just in the minority here. Wow. Well, first, I wanted, let me see. I wanted to really, I love the way it started out with the music was wonderfully film noir. The clouds were, you know, that dark clouds, and it was just, it set you up for a film noir. However, you know, Marilyn, when you see Marilyn the first time, she's naked with a full face of makeup on and that red lipstick. I was like, what woman? I don't care who you are, has that red lip, you know, full face makeup and naked underneath. I went, damn. That.
Wait. They all don't do that?
Oh, really? You have that at your house, do you?
That's the way my wife greets me when I come home.
Yeah.
Of course,
Linda
my
does that.
husband's never seen me without makeup. Of course not.
Next question.
That started it. And then well, and what you were saying, Chris, I agree. It's all the other women, all of them wore full flare skirts, you know, full skirts. Marilyn is the only one that wears, you know, sheath or pencil skirts. She's the only one. All the others wear the flared skirts. And the way women are treated, Jean's husband, I wanted him to be thrown into Niagara Falls. That awful, oh honey, you didn't see him, it was just a dream. Oh, don't, he drove me nuts. He was, I thought, awful. He just made the women, you know, his wife, like she was a child, and that he but I mean, I was just writing like, oh my God. And again, I recognize I got to look, you know, back then women were depicted differently. I understand it, but there were to me, there were so many holes. First of all, how did he, the husband, know that the bells were supposed to play when the deed was done? It's like, well, how did he know that? How come the bells are, remember the bells were playing after, and he writes her a little note, and the bells are going to play when the deed is done, and then it's, you know, he's dead. So how did Jane Cotten figure out that the bells are supposed to be played? So that was crazy to me. It was like, what else? Oh my God, I scribbled. So
I thought Marilyn, Donna, I thought Marilyn's boyfriend wrote that note, not her husband.
Right, he did. The boyfriend wrote the note. So how did the husband know to play the bells?
Right.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. I feel you. Yeah. Now
maybe he fished it out of the trash can.
Well, remember I believe she tore it, didn't she? I think she tore it.
Just folded it up and put it in there. I don't know. Yeah.
But
maybe he beat up the boyfriend and made him tell him.
That's a good point, though, Jeff. I didn't think about that, but you're right. And maybe you're right, Jeff. Maybe he beat him up first and made him tell him before he killed him. You know. What else was that? It was oh yeah, the outfits, you know, to go shopping, you know. Jesus, you know, it's nylons, full makeup, and these outfits. I was like, geez, thank God. I don't remember that. Anyway, let me see. Oh yeah, well the husband, he was so excited. Oh, and Don Wilson, the guy that you might not remember, but I kind of remember. It was Jack Benny's sidekick. I think it was Jack Benny.
The announcer. His announcer.
Wilson, yeah, his announcer, and he's another one. I was like, oh my God, please. Another man, and the relationship between the two of them was like, oh. Anyway, let me see what else I did.
I loved how they slid him across the car seat. Get on over, honey.
Yeah. Song. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, just all the things that the awful husband would say, things like she'll do for a while when they said, you know, we're
Yeah.
you know, that kind of stuff. Oh yeah. You know, Joseph Cotten meets Marilyn in a beer hall and says, I guess it's the way she poured the beer. Really, Joe? That's what got you? That's what got you to marry to I mean, I was just like, please. But
I think that was a little tongue in cheek.
yeah, but I don't, I mean, and that's the other thing. And I think Joseph Cotten is a great actor. I just thought he was way over the top in this one. You know, it's like from the beginning, it's like the fall. I love the fall shots. I've never been there. And those were magnificent. I really, really, really loved the shots. So I'm glad for that reason to see it. But I just thought as a film noir, for me, it just had so many holes. I thought that I was like, you know, anyway, sorry, I just you know what, I don't know, it was just, women were just depicted so poorly in this, and Marilyn on top of being you know, so beautiful. It's just, you know, just so unrealistic. I guess that's what it was, maybe unrealistic, where some other film noir I think are a little more realistic. But anyway, that was just sorry, I went off on my little tangent.
No, yeah, no, Donna, I picked up on that in the first 3 or 4 scenes where Polly's husband is walking her to someplace. Okay.
Yeah.
He not only has her by the arm, but it's like they're walking at such a quick clip that it's almost as if he thinks she's in custody, and they're
Yeah.
walking. I mean, he's got her by her elbow or just beneath the
Yes.
elbow, and
Yes.
walk her and walking at a really fast pace. And everybody, and I said, God, it looks like she's in custody. So
Yeah.
I noticed that right off the bat.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. It's yeah, it was hard for me to even get into the you know, the feel of it, because you know, there were some things that I was like, you know, even when she was in the hospital, she has makeup on. You know, she stays in the hospital and she's still, oh boy. But anyway, just
You
that's
realize,
minor.
Donna, that this film is as old as we are, right?
Yeah, I know.
1953.
Older.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you, Jeff.
You know, it's just, but it's really not that old. But you can see the difference of the way women were depicted back then and now. I mean, that's what really got me, is just like, oh wow, how they're just, it was, to me, it was just really so obvious how thank God we've come a little ways anyway.
Well, I think they probably, I mean, if you think about it, they exaggerate that the way the Gene Peters character is portrayed, and Kettinger, whatever his name, his wife, but that just kind of helps enhance the contrast between them and Marilyn
True.
Monroe, who was
True.
quite the opposite.
Yeah.
The one flaw that my wife picked up on was, if you're going to go out on a boat ride, you buy more than 5 bottles of beer. That's
Yeah.
one.
Not that, yeah.
She's absolutely right.
She's been on boats with me and Mahoney, and she knows full well.
She
that
knows,
we've
yeah.
got 20 times that much beer on the boat.
Yeah, that doesn't get us off the dock.
That's right. We have those at the house before we go on the boat.
Yep. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Well, I
And then-
think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm done, Jeff.
Okay. I was going to say that parallel with Terry's comments about the charming nature of the old stuff in there, I think we were watching old acting and old styles and old mores. And I think it was consistent with all that, despite the onerous parts of it that are kind of considered obnoxious now because things have changed a lot. I think it was very characteristic of the time. And for the same reasons that those other things were kind of charming in a way. It's kind of cool to see that because it does it does help you appreciate how things are today. I also had the delightful experience of I watched the Plex version and it started pixelating about halfway through the show. So the thing behind me is how most of the movie looked to me.
Oh no.
I'd have little flashes and then they would go and jerk back and forth. And, it was very strange. It's kind of a science fiction movie for me. But I did enjoy it for what it
Sort of like
was.
cheating on HBO back in the day, right?
Yeah. I had some little aluminum foil on my rabbit ears and yeah.
I guess the thing I noticed about it was, a lot of things that you noticed too, but the ending, so there's such a formula for the time, it just, it ends so quickly. I think, like they're on the boat, he shoves her onto the little island so that she can be saved. And then he goes off the fall. And it's over. There's no reflection.
There's no denouement. Yeah.
There's no reflection or anything. You go straight to the credits. It's like, well, I mean, some people survive a fall at Niagara, and but it just reminded me so many movies like that from that era. They're like, they come to an end quickly. That's
They're running out of film.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting there's a possibility that Joseph Cotten would have survived that fall?
Well, I mean, don't people go over Niagara Falls in barrels and things like that?
Yeah.
So,
Not a heavy boat though.
Huh? I know over the years they have had different things that where people go over Niagara Falls. That you don't hear about it too much anymore. But
so you wanted more movie.
Well, I mean, no, I'm not saying that. I liked it and I appreciated it for what it was, but I'm just saying there was a formula in these 1950s, early 1960s movies where, I mean, they come to an end quickly. It's just like, okay, here's how we end. Boom, it's over.
That's so the
he
people
dies,
get out
she
of the
lives.
theater so the ushers can come in and clean up the popcorn.
That's right.
Could be. Then I was looking at Joseph Cotten. I mean, what does everybody remember Joseph Cotten from mostly? I know I was sitting there watching him. I'm thinking, I know this is a great actor, but where do I know him from? And
Wasn't he in Citizen Kane?
Yeah.
And Magnificent Ambersons, I think, or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. That was another one.
He's been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah,
TV,
he has.
Movies, radio. It's like his last film was like in 1981. This film was in the middle of his career. He was in Soylent Green.
Mm.
I don't know if he got 8 or what, but anyway. Anyway, no, I enjoyed the movie. It was good.
What else did?
Mike Sanders checked in.
I liked it. I took it for what it was. I knew that it was a time capsule of sorts.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
I was born in 1953, and I didn't understand a whole lot about the world then either. But and I also thought it was interesting. I looked this up, and Terry knows I sent this to him. Marilyn Monroe was in the first centerfold of Playboy.
Oh yeah.
In 1953.
Yep.
However, she did not pose for that. She had posed for some nude pictures with someone else, and Hefner bought those and got the rights to them. But I just thought it was kind of interesting that not only was it a 1953 movie, but that was the year that she became the first centerfold, for whatever that's worth.
I actually think she did a really, I thought she was a pretty good actress for what it was. I think she was a good actress and never really given the right thing. Even this, I mean, the writing with, I guess you like that song, Mrs. whatever her name was. And she says, there is no other song, that.
I have to say, I'm with Mahoney though. I thought Some Like It Hot was probably the best Marilyn Monroe picture
Well,
I've seen.
or Gentlemen Prefer
7 Year
Blondes.
Itch is another good one.
Yeah, and 7 Year Itch. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
I think she proved herself over time that she could act,
she did. Yeah.
And she was trying here, but she didn't really have a good vehicle for it, I don't think.
No.
She took her acting seriously, and she actually created that character, Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not Norma Jean Mortensen
Baker.
or whatever you want to say. And
Norma Jean Mortensen.
Oh, I thought it was Baker. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay.
And you saw Jean Peters was married for a number of years to Howard Hughes.
Norma Jean Baker also.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Who was Jean Peters?
She was on
in the movie.
When she
I was curious about Jean Peters' husband in the movie, the character. That guy looked familiar to me, but I didn't look him up or anything.
Well, yeah, I thought so too. And they had him by two different names. One was something like Casey Baker, and then another more realistic sounding name. He looked really familiar, but they didn't go into any depth about who he was.
I looked him up. He has been in a ton of stuff.
Right. That's what I thought.
That's Greg Kinnear's dad.
Is that right?
No.
Really? Oh,
looks like him.
See, now that's how shit starts on the internet.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh, you're right.
That's how
Somebody's
MAGA
going to
hat
watch this
shit got
YouTube and
started.
run with it.
Okay, so when Marilyn Monroe died, she was in the process of starting her own production company. Okay, to take her mega stardom out of the hands of all these other men and whatever. She was still under contract when she did Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Jane Russell got $100,000. Marilyn Monroe got $10,000.
Yeah, it was.
That movie.
Yeah.
I read something just before we started this, that in this particular movie, even though she was a star, she got paid less than her hairdresser because she was under some contract already.
Yeah, you just contracted with the studios and you were just like a workhorse. You just, okay, make this movie, and you had a set rate that you were paid.
Right.
So, but she was moving away from that and getting ready to start her own company, and then she would have made the money. But, her background was put into an orphanage by her mother. Her mother didn't die. Her mother just couldn't take care of her and stuffed her in a orphanage for a couple of years. And then she came out and lived with her, I don't know, was it her grandparents or an uncle or just a friend of the family or something?
So she got married real early.
Stuff about that. And then she was a Christian Scientist, which think that you can just pray all your diseases away. You don't have to do any medical interventions or anything like that. And then especially I read this about on Some Like It Hot. They were shooting her up with some of the nastiest shit that you can put into your body. I don't know, Jeff might know, just these nasty drugs that they were just shooting her up with this shit. Like pretty much every movie she went off saying, they were just like nailing her with these heavy, I don't know, tranquilizers or whatever it was. But
there was a guy who, and I should have written it down a long time ago when I read about it, but he went around to all kinds of, the story goes at least, he went around to all kinds of celebrities, including politicians, and he shot them up with, I think, mainly stimulants. Just, like JFK and all these other people they had this guy that would come around and kind of give them happy juice. And he had a pretty big following. I wish I could come up with that right now, but I bet a little research would turn that up.
Dr. Feelgood.
Dr. Feel. Yeah.
Dr. Feelgood. Yeah, that was the guy's name, Dr. Feelgood.
Yeah. So I think that she was probably part of that club.
I kind of remember, but again, I'm not sure. I vaguely remember reading something that Marilyn was pregnant in Some Like It Hot. Does anybody remember reading that or hearing that, or no? She's a little heavier in that movie, if you remember. And she's even a little bustier than and she was busty to begin with, but she was a little bustier in that particular movie. But I do remember, but I don't remember where Gloria Steinem wrote a biography of Marilyn, which was years ago. So it was kind of interesting. She really was just unfortunate what happened to her and all that. But
there's been a number of documentaries. I know it seems like between Netflix and HBO, there's almost a Marilyn documentary every month.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, because of the timing of her death when she was getting ready to leave the studios that had her kind of locked in, was there any question about something unsavory going on there?
You mean with Kennedy?
Well, no, like with the studios saying you can't leave. This is the question.
I don't know.
I've never read anything about it, but it just seemed like, well, at the moment she's about to break free, they shut her down.
I thought it had more to do really with Kennedy.
Right. That's what I had always
Yeah.
heard.
Like in her overdose wasn't accidental.
Yeah. I never heard of a politician doing something like that, though.
I think she just got careless that night and couldn't get a hold of who was it? It was Burt Lancaster was her friend. She would call up and he'd come over and pull her out of her drug. She tried that 2 or 3 times before. And so I think she just got overconfident that she could like play that game, and then that night it got out of hand. So
how old was she? 36 or something?
Yeah,
when she died?
36. Yeah.
Young girl.
27 when she made this movie.
Wow.
And I think she was 23 or something like that when she took those pictures that Playboy ran.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's her birth year and death year, easy to remember. She was born in 26, died in 62.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was that. And then I was doing research on her, and there's scenes from the movie she was making with Tony Curtis when she died, which never got finished. But there were some scenes in that they'd already done.
Talking about that being under contract, she had 3 releases in 53. 3 movies came out that year. That's a lot of.
Yeah.
What were the other 2?
I don't know. That's for Bill to look up.
Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and How to Marry a Millionaire.
Oh yeah, it's another good one.
Huh.
But Mike, I mean, in 52, she made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 films.
Yeah. I mean, the studio used her up while she was hot. No question.
Yeah. In 51, she made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
They cranked out movies, those 90-minute movies. They cranked out a lot of them fast.
Yeah.
So it's similar to what professional sports was, right? They didn't have free agency in 1953. You were a slave to the team. The person actually fucking owned you.
Till Kurt Flood.
You had no bargaining power as an athlete. You were bought and paid for by the owner. You couldn't go out and sell your skills. So this is before free agency in sports even.
Yeah.
So
what did Hollywood do? Did they unionize? Did they get
there was a big case involving a major movie star. I want to say it was Olivia de Havilland, but I'm not sure of that. I'm just going off the top of my head. That basically did the same thing that Kurt Flood did in baseball, and that was take it to court and challenge the restrictions that the Hollywood studios had placed on on their employees, and the courts ruled against the studios, and de Havilland was had an opportunity then to leave her contract with whoever she was with, MGM, Grand, or Fox, or I don't know who she was with, but yeah, it was a big legal case. I think it was Olivia de Havilland that
I
was
think you're right. Yeah.
plaintiff on it.
Around that time too, Mike, a lot of artists got together and created United Artists, their own.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
yeah, that was
That was in the 20s, though.
right. That was Mary Pickford and Charlie Chaplin, and
Right. And the one married to Pickford, Swashbuckler,
Errol Flynn.
Errol Flynn.
not the
No.
other one.
Yeah, Errol
Before
Flynn.
him. Before him. The
Before him.
first, yeah, before Errol, the first, the Swashbuckler. Oh God, I hate
Douglas
this.
Fairbanks.
Douglas
Thank you.
Fairbanks. Yeah,
Thank you. Yes, Douglas Fairbanks.
I'm
and
slow on the uptake,
I
but I
think
get
Fatty
there.
Arbuckle was also part of that. Seriously,
Yeah.
because there were several artists of that era, and
Yeah.
Chaplin, Pickford, Fairbanks were all part of them. And I think Fatty Arbuckle before he went over the high side.
So,
and the name of that doctor, Dr. Feelgood, was Max Jacobson.
I heard that. So now fast forward to today, we have actors and sports people making obscene amounts of money, more money than any person is actually worth. But at least it doesn't go to the owners anymore.
Worth is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
Well, it ain't worth it then. It
Well,
ain't worth that much.
not to
Fuck
you.
it. Fuck them, way more money
Mark-
than anybody should ever make. Wow.
Very true, but market forces are at play here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I would bet that the best 500 surgeons in the world are also handsomely rewarded because
Not
they're
at that level, though.
they're at the top of their game.
Well, that's
No sense.
something of value, however.
Right.
Being a surgeon is something of value. Being a sports figure or a fucking movie star has limited social value. It's all entertainment.
All in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, it's true. $700 million for a contract is a little higher than the average great surgeon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saying the
Sure.
greatest surgeon doesn't make Mahomes money.
No.
No.
Ask Colin Kaepernick how well that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He finally reached a point where he could not, he got turned down by so many clubs that he was not eligible anymore.
Mhm.
He tried
Yeah.
every season to get in if he could.
That's so sad.
As an
Yeah.
extra, as a backup quarterback, practice squad, you name it, he tried. But he came and talked to, when Russell Wilson left the Seattle Seahawks, he came and met with the Seahawks, and they had a big day with him, and he practiced with the team and all that kind of stuff. And they showed him throwing 80-yard passes, and they said, no, thanks.
Jeez.
Yeah, age has a way of catching up with you too there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing with athletes. They've only got so much time. That's
Right.
why Mahomes took his $700 million contract and shortened its time because somebody could snap his leg and that would be the end of it.
It's the same is true of, as Terry said, entertainers. They have a short career span, typically.
True. Especially females.
Not everybody's Kevin Costner or Tom Cruise or whatever. Most of them have a 3 to 10 year shelf.
Right.
Yeah. When you're hot, you're hot. And when you're not, you're not.
You're not. Yeah.
Well, most of the movies we've watched, the actors have had good, at least 10-year careers.
Yeah.
I would say every movie we've watched. At least
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
when the Year of the Bird, is that what you're talking about?
Pete, you want to take this one?
Look, it was either going to be The Big Year or Moonstruck. one or the other.
Yeah, but Nicolas Cage has been around.
But Whitaker's not on the call, so just go ahead and say it.
No, I think Steve Martin, he's been around.
Yeah.
Owen Wilson has been around, and Jack Black has been
Jack
around,
Black, yeah.
and Charles, not Dennehy, Brian Dennehy. Yeah, they've been around. So has nothing to do with the fact that you got the movie sucked. Those guys have been around. So.
It looks like Marilyn Monroe, she's won a couple of Golden Globes.
Golden Gloves.
Oh, Golden Gloves? What'd you play? Shortstop?
Had a mean uppercut.
Okay.
that kind.
But I mean, I mean, BAFTA award, that's not a bigger award, is it?
Oh, it's the British equivalent of the Academy
Yeah.
Awards.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So two Golden Globe awards, Some Like It Hot and BAFTA.
Anybody happen to watch the Screen Actors Guild Awards? They were on that.
I know, and I missed it.
The only part I saw was Brad Pitt won one, and he was holding it, and he walked up to the microphone and he said, "I'm putting this on my Tinder profile. This means something."
Wow.
Got a good laugh.
Oh, that's funny. I tried to watch it, and when you try to play it, stream it, they have a pre-show that's all about the fashion and all that.
Right.
And it was a whole hour, and I couldn't fast forward it, so I didn't even bother watching.
Yeah, I don't care for the red carpet stuff too much.
No, I don't either. And
Was that
Yeah.
last night or Saturday night?
It was Sunday night.
Last night.
it was? No, last
Maybe.
Sunday.
Well,
Last,
the one behind
mean-
us, yeah.
I mean, a week ago from yesterday. Right?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right. I think it's up to Jeff with the G to tell us what we're going to watch next week.
All right. It stars Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman and Amy Adams. It's called The Master from 2012.
Oh, yes.
It's a drama, has some historical aspects to it. I won't say too much else about it, but except to watch the opening credits.
Okay. Where do you find this bad boy?
It's on all of them pretty much. I mean,
Okay.
it's on Prime and Vudu and Apple, I think.
Jeff, what did you say? 2012?
Yep.
All right.
Philip Seymour Hoffman. Who else?
Joaquin
Phoenix.
Phoenix and Amy Adams.
Oh, okay. What's that? What is it about? I think I might have seen it.
Spoiler
He's
alert.
Joaquin Phoenix is a post-World War II, military guy, and he's having all kinds of psychological problems, and he hooks up with Philip Seymour Hoffman, which is kind of a con man of sorts. Actually, he kind of leads a sort of a cult.
Mm.
So, and one thing I read said his character's kind of based off L. Ron Hubbard a little bit.
Oh, really?
Ooh, okay.
So, I mean, the Philip Seymour Hoffman character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does that mean Jeff with a J is next?
Bill with the B.
Oh, Bill with a B. There you are. Okay.
I'm glad we got this alphabet thing figured out here. It took a while, but we finally got it.
I'm actually going to be absent probably next week on a boat with a bunch of musicians.
We'll get more than 5 beers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going on the jazz cruise?
No, it's called Cayamo. And it's a mixture of different kinds of people. Lyle Lovett is the headliner. So should be
Oh.
fun.
Is it in St. Louis?
No, it goes from Miami to Puerto Plata and then Aruba and then back to Miami.
Oh,
Fun.
Oh, good.
7 days of music.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Those are always fun. I went on several blues cruises. Went on 6 of them total.
Wow,
Really?
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people called it the booze cruise because, you know, they're driving and you, you know, you have to pay
Yeah.
for your drinks, of course, but a lot of people overindulge the first couple of days. They spend most of their time in their cabins recuperating from getting a little too excited the first couple of days. And then you see them starting to show up at the venues on the boat for the different acts. And they finally figure out that they had a little too much the first time around. But you'll enjoy the heck out of that. That it is, those are fun. I don't know why, it just is. They're taking you somewhere and they provide the food and the booze and the music, you know, so you get to see the performers up close. I have to tell you this story. I saw Jimmy Thackeray and gosh, I'm trying to think of the guy that played the harmonica, Magic Dick, and they were doing some kind of pro-am jam, and a guy raised his hand and they said, come on up, because he had played with them before and they'd seen him. And he got up there and he got in the middle of it all, and Lonnie Brooks was also playing, and he was right up there with him, and he played for about 20 minutes, and he came and he sat back down next to me, and I go, hey, that's pretty good. Are you a musician? He goes, no, man, I'm a postman from Denver. Isn't this great?
They walk among us.
Yeah.
Uh,
Any recommendations for next week? We're running out of time here. I sent out last week's recommendations. I hope you all saw those.
Yes, that was great. Thank you, Mike.
I just figured while we were waiting on the YouTube piece to show up, we might as well go ahead and have the recommendations while we're trying to catch up with all these series and that sort of thing.
Yeah, Bill.
Sorry, I had to make you wait so long. Everybody's got a little used to having it like an hour after the meeting.
And then you take.
Yeah, I was like bugging him already. I was like, where is this thing, Bill?
Somebody got
Hey,
spoiled.
thanks.
Anyway, I've got one, and it is, I think I haven't mentioned this yet, Constellation on Apple Plus. Anybody seen this?
No.
It's a really good series. It's in 8 parts. I happen to be waiting for episode 4. It comes out once a week every Wednesday. I hate that part of it. But it stars Rumi Napace, who was in the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series. She's
Oh.
a Danish actress.
Oh,
really
yeah.
good, really good. And it's a sci-fi thriller about being on the International Space Station. And they had an experiment there, which involved quantum physics, and it created matter and antimatter only because it was in no gravity. And it caused a huge accident, and they barely were able to get back home. But that's just the beginning of the thing. I mean, I'm still following it, but I think it's pretty interesting. It's a mystery, and then it's a sci-fi and all that thrown together. And I like her. I think she's great. She's great.
Yeah, she is good.
What's it called?
Constellation. It's on Apple TV Plus, and new episodes come out on Wednesdays. And there's 8 total, and I'm waiting for number 4. They let me watch the first 3. I just devoured them, you know. And then they said the next one comes out next Wednesday. So
Yeah.
Donna, I started watching Lessons in Chemistry. It's fabulous.
Isn't it good? Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's her, and she does such a good job, Brie Larson.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's a really good book too. And it's a good one for your wives too, as I will reiterate, your wives, I think, would like it. It's a good one. What did I just see? Great Expectations. But it's kind of a modernized version, but it was
probably in 99 is when it was made, I think. Ethan Hawke, Glennis Paltrow. But it's kind of an if you like, if you've seen or read Great Expectations, it's pretty good. It's good.
I watched a couple of Academy Award movies that are free. You can get for free. I've watched Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah, The Dial of Destiny. Yeah.
It's free out there on something. And it was okay. I think it's only up for one award. Then I watched one called El Conde. Has anybody heard of that? It's on Netflix, and it's up for best cinematography, and it's about these group of vampires. Is it Pinochet, the head of Chile, the Chilean government? And have you heard of that, Pete? Have you heard of this one?
I've not, no.
Oh, okay. But anyway,
What's the name again, Bill?
El Conde.
E-L?
Yeah.
C-O-N-D-E?
El Conde.
Okay.
El Conde. C-O-N-D-E. And anyway, it's a group of vampires. I watched it. It was the cinematography. It's up for only in cinematography. And I believe it. It's really, and it's up against some pretty good competition. It could win. It's pretty cool the way they depict these vampires flying around and everything. But I mean, I'm going to need one of you to explain to me exactly what happened in that movie. It was pretty bizarre. So, but
Is the president of Chile, Pinochet, one of the vampires?
yes, yes.
Oh, wow.
It goes.
Well, I don't know how many of you know that Abraham Lincoln was a vampire killer.
Oh
so,
yeah, that's right.
Well, that's what I was
they
thinking
made
of.
a
I was
movie.
thinking of
like
that.
that too. Well, and Margaret Thatcher is in there too. She's also a vampire.
I'll believe she's a vampire. I have maintained that for my entire life.
And then I watched a part of Past Lives. It's out there for free on something too.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Good.
I mean, I was surprised. My wife said, I've got to watch something else. So I'll finish watching that myself. But I mean, Past Lives is a lot of dialogue and things like that. But I don't know. I'm thinking it gets better. I don't know.
You're hoping?
I'm hoping.
We started watching a detective series called Will Trent, which I think is on Hulu. It's medium interesting.
Yeah.
What was it called? Will what?
Trent.
Trent.
Yeah.
Set in the South.
He's some kind of detective, right? Or
Yeah.
theater.
He's kind of an unlikely detective, and he's in his hometown, and he is disrespected and kind of had a hard childhood. But he's redeeming himself as a detective.
You say it's set in Taos?
No,
No.
I don't know where it is exactly.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Texas someplace,
Oh.
but not sure.
I mean, we have to the Academy Awards.
Is that
To
Sunday?
us.
No, it's still a ways off, I think. It's not
March
until.
10th.
March 10th or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
2 weeks.
Yeah, we've got time.
Coming up.
American Fiction, that they on everywhere I look, they want $20 to see it. So
Wow.
I have, yeah.
And they still want $20 to see Poor Things and Zone of Interest. So is there any chance that those two will go down before the Academy Awards? Because they're my last two Best Picture movies to see before the Academy Awards. I don't want to pay $20. I'm sorry.
I'm wondering if they have it if they're going to have them at the theaters. I mean, you can get a theater ticket for less than 20.
Oh yeah, $5 on Tuesday for senior day. If they bring them back.
Chris, just get on Mr. Google and say, when will American Fiction be available streaming on Netflix or, you know, somewhere besides VOD. VOD is $19.99, video on demand. And what they'll tell you most of
these are
time,
streaming. These are
Yeah,
streaming.
they're streaming now.
well, what I mean is where you could see it without paying $19.99.
Yeah.
What they'll tell you is that one
Okay.
happens to be owned by Paramount. So chances are, once it finishes its VOD, whatever that plan was, it'll end up on Paramount, or they'll say it was a Universal picture and it's going to end up on Peacock, or they'll give you a little bit of a hint, but they don't know when. Generally, sometimes they announce that. They'll say it's
Okay.
I think with the Killers of the Flower Moon, they announced when that was going to appear on Apple TV, and I think it showed up somewhere else too, Paramount also.
Yeah. And free. Yeah.
They're trying to get wide coverage, but they said on you know, whatever that date was, February 3rd. So you can Google it, and but not always. So like Donna was saying, sometimes they do a re-release where it goes back to the theaters for a while after the awards are over, so that people can say 9 Academy Award nominations. You know,
Yeah.
drop some more dough on it, or and then it might, and some of them never do make it to Netflix and Prime and things like that, because the owners, the producers of it don't want to go that route. That's why we rent a lot of the movies that we're watching today. They don't all make them available to stream.
Right.
Where you can get it with a subscription.
You know, it is kind of weird though, like what Chris is saying and Donna too. I'm looking at the movies at the Cinemark tomorrow, because we go on Tuesdays a lot too, because it's $6. They have like 20 movies at Cinemark tomorrow. Now, I don't think one of them is up for an Academy Award.
Really?
And some of them are pretty lousy. I mean, like Madam Web, it's gotten terrible reviews. Some of them are, there's not, no, well, Wonka's on there. And Migration might be, I don't know. But that's kind of weird, isn't it?
The target audience of the exhibitors is teenagers, 13 to 18. That's what they're looking for. And teenagers don't really care. They just want to go to the movies and have fun. And so sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not so good, but that's what they go anyway. And they spend $20 on popcorn, and they spend $20 on a ticket, and the exhibitors get a chance to make some money.
You mean they spend dad's $20 on
Dad's, they have dad's credit card and dad's car and all this kind of stuff. Yeah.
They're not going for the movie. They're going so they can hook up Eddie Joe.
Yeah.
Right. And tell them they're spending the night at somebody else's house, wherever they were spending. You know, I'm early on, I wanted to make Spinal Tap a pick.
Yeah.
And you can't rent it. It's not available to rent, and there's just no way. It's not on any of the services.
Really? Oh,
You have to own it?
You can buy it, yeah, which I did. I used to have a copy of it, and I lost it moving or something, so I bought another copy of it just so I could watch it.
Are they doing a sequel to that? Did I read they're doing a sequel to that?
They've already done like 3. That's another
Oh, they have?
reason. There's Spinal Tap 2, 3, and now they're getting ready to do 4.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
So some of them are busy. Some of them are getting ready to go to Broadway. You know, Color Purple, it went to Broadway as a musical. They shut down all of their movie renting and all that kind of stuff while it was on Broadway. Now it's back up, you know, where you could rent it probably or see it. I watched it and I thought it was a pretty good movie, you know. But that's just the way it is with the movie business. Whoever owns it, the producers have the option. And especially when you go back in time, you know, like the Marilyn Monroe one, I had no idea. I thought we might or might not be able to find that. I guess Chris found it on Plex in a color version. And so that's how I watched it. But
yeah,
I don't think how did you find that, Chris? Was that just under Real Good or anything that we would normally look under?
I just went to Plex and typed in the name and pow. Of course, you have to spell Niagara right. It's not like Viagra, okay?
I got it on Hoopla.
I got it on Prime. I watched it on Prime. It's colorized.
Really?
And I use Hoopla and Canopy for things like that too. Sometimes those same producers that won't let you rent it somewhere, it'll be on Hoopla or Canopy. And so
They don't see the library as a competitor.
right.
All right.
All right, kids.
Okay.
Everybody have a good week.
All right, good pick.
Hey,
Good
I
pick.
wanted to-
Good
I wanted
pick.
to ask
Thanks.
real quick,
Thanks, Tara.
real quickly
glad you
before we
liked it.
go. What do you guys think about dropping doing the minutes part?
I'm all
I
for
just-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just went
You
through
won't have
it.
any complaints. Yeah. Nobody wants to do. Don't tell Whitaker. He
Yeah,
just
Bill, do
fears
not
that.
send him this
All right,
YouTube.
well, this was a
You're not
straw
fitting
vote
this-
just to see if there was any interest, and so maybe another time we'll have a formal vote. But
'Cause he's
I
gonna
think
have
once
to
we've
do
got,
like-
when you've got the movie right there, I mean, when you've got this recording that Bill does
Exactly.
for us
Yeah.
within 30
Right.
minutes, you're
Yeah,
basically
it's like
rehashing
redundant.
that.
Yeah.
And
Which gonna have
rehashing
to
what
do
you've
like
already.
6 movies when he gets home. And
Plus-
so
Viewership will go way up.
Oh, there you go, right there.
There you go, Bill. Bill's always interested in getting that third viewer,
Thinking about minutes reminds me of Walsh, and his birthday just passed.
Yeah.
Thought
Yeah.
about him.
I guess I.
Well, there
I
you go.
sent
We
a-
should retire it because no one can do it like Walsh anyway.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
True. That's true.
Yeah.
I sent a text to everybody who I
yeah,
had.
appreciate that.
I went by and saw his plaque over there at the
Yeah, I
museum,
saw that. Yeah.
and I'll
That's
Thank
cool.
I'll
Thanks,
try
Bill.
to attach it tonight too, so the rest of you can see it. But yeah, that was fun. It was you can't miss it.
Now, and Whitaker happened to tell me the other day that he's coming back March 9th. So whatever that means.
Oh,
Oh,
they
that's
must have
a lot-
cut out
that's
the
a lot
Red Sea
earlier.
portion.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
All right.
No.
See you
Okay.
next week.
Thanks, Bill. Nice
Yeah.
pick, Terry.
Yeah,
Great
Thanks.
pick, Terry.
So,
yeah, thanks.
thanks.
Good night.
all.